UFC 254 was easily one of the most anticipated events of the year. Not only did we have Robert Whittaker and Jared Cannonier competing in what many considered to be a title elimination bout, we also had the long-awaited return of lightweight king Khabib Nurmagomedov, taking on the interim champion Justin Gaethje for the undisputed crown. So for this video, we've decided to do a brief recap of UFC 254, as we take a look at the results for both the co-main and the main event. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Now without further ado, let's take a look at what happened at UFC 254. First, we'll be taking a look at our co-main event, which featured former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker taking on the number 2 ranked Jared Cannonier. In the eyes of fans, the outcome of this fight would ultimately decide who the next contender for the middleweight belt would be. Going back to just over a year ago, Whittaker lost the title to Israel Adesanya at UFC 243. Luckily, he was able to get back in the win column with a decisive victory over Darren Till, reaffirming his place as one of the top talents in the division. Meanwhile, Jared Cannonier had gone 3-0 since making the drop down to 185 pounds, picking up wins over the likes of David Branch, Anderson Silva and Jack Hermansson. With a title shot potentially up for grabs, both fighters were no doubt eager to put on an impressive performance. Overall, the co-main event was a fantastic fight between two extremely tough competitors. While Cannonier undoubtedly had his moments, most notably with his devastating leg kicks, it was Whittaker who was the more aggressive of the two, scoring some solid combinations and outlanding his opponent for all 3 rounds. The third round was particularly memorable, with Whittaker landing a beautifully placed head kick that nearly put Cannonier away. When it was all said and done, it was Whittaker who emerged the winner, earning a hard-fought unanimous decision victory. With his stellar win against Cannonier now in the books, the next fight for Whittaker should undoubtedly be a rematch with middleweight champion Israel Adesanya. As for Cannonier, perhaps a fight with Paulo Costa would make the most sense, especially seeing as they're right next to each other in the rankings and are both coming off of a loss. Next up on our list is of course the main event, which featured lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov making his long-awaited return, as he took on the interim champion Justin Gaethje in a title unification bout. Prior to the match, Khabib was originally booked to face Tony Ferguson at UFC 249. Unfortunately, due to travel restrictions brought on by the pandemic, the fight was cancelled for a 5th time. As a result, Justin Gaethje stepped in on short notice, defeating Tony Ferguson and capturing the interim belt, which in turn earned him a shot at the undisputed champion Khabib Nurmagomedov. Heading into the bout, Justin Gaethje was in the midst of a 4-fight winning streak, having finished all of his opponents by way of knockouts. Meanwhile, Khabib entered the contest with a flawless 28-0 record, having successfully defended his title against both Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. Unfortunately, just a few months prior to the fight, Khabib tragically lost his father, and given their close relationship, many onlookers were left questioning how this setback might affect the mental state of Khabib. Well, Khabib laid all of those doubts to rest once the fight had concluded. While both fighters were initially a bit hesitant to engage, Khabib eventually began to pick up the pace, actively hunting Gaethje down as he connected with some solid jabs and knees. While Gaethje responded with some hard shots of his own, Khabib's constant pressure seemed too much to handle, with the champ eventually securing a takedown, working his way into a mount position and nearly locking in an armbar before the end of round 1. During a scramble in the second, Khabib was able to get into a dominant position, lock in a triangle choke and eventually force Gaethje to tap out. It was both a satisfying and extremely emotional victory for Khabib, who secured his 3rd title defense and extended his professional record to 29-0. However, in an unexpected turn of events, Khabib surprisingly announced his retirement in his post-fight speech, stating that he would no longer compete without his father.
It was my last fight, and no way I'm gonna come here without my father. It was first time when, after what happened with my father, when UFC called me about Justin, I talked with my father, my mother, 3 days. She don't wanna I go fight without father, but I promise her it's gonna be my last fight.
If this truly was his last fight, then there is no question that Khabib has solidified his place as one of the greatest fighters of all time. As for what's next remains a bit unclear. It's possible that the winner of Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier will now become the new undisputed lightweight champion. Or perhaps Tony Ferguson and Michael Chandler will compete for the vacant belts. Either way, I'm sure we'll all be interested to see what comes next. So that concludes our brief recap of UFC 254. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Apart from that, thanks so much for watching guys, and we'll see you on the next video.